Hiya, Jacquie Edwards here, author of the #1 best-selling book, Rent to Rent, Your Questions Answered. In this video, I want to chat with you briefly about contracts. Using the correct contract with your rent-to-rents is incredibly important, as it will set you apart from the property cowboys, and it will give you the comfort of knowing that you are running your business legally and protecting both your landlords and the tenants. Normally, these top tip videos are only for my Rent to Rent Academy members, but I wanted to share this one with everyone as I think it's quite an important topic because if we all start using the correct contracts, it will help raise the standards in the rent to rent world and it'll help erase some of the negativity surrounding this strategy. So there are about 4 different types of contracts used by people doing rent to rent. Currently, only 2 of these are correct. And depending on the landlord's situation, only one of those might be correct. So first, I want to put in a word of caution. I always recommend that you get your contracts drawn up by a solicitor. You should never get your contracts from Joe on Facebook who does rent to rent and say the contracts work for him, even if he had a contract written by a solicitor. Because if something happens down the road and your landlord comes back to you and wants his house back and tells you that the contract is illegal, you don't have any recourse. You have nothing to fall back on. Joe from Facebook, he's not going to help you out. He's going to say, sorry, mate, and Joe's solicitor isn't going to help you out either. So you're going to be stuck. Whereas if you use a solicitor that understands rent to rent to draw up your contracts and anything goes wrong down the road, you'll be able to go back to that solicitor and have him make it right, either by supporting you through any legal process or by falling back on their indemnity insurance and paying you for any loss of revenues caused by a faulty contract. So now let's get into it and break it down. First, a standard AST or Assured Short Hold Tenancy Agreement is not the type of contract that you should use between you and the landlord when you're doing a rent-to-rent. This type of contract is for Housing Act tenancies, and a rent-to-rent does not fall into this category. An AST should be used between you and your tenants, not with the landlord. This is a common mistake many new rent-to-renters make, and many letting agents may suggest that you use this type of agreement. The other type of contract not to use is a company-led agreement. I often explain rent-to-rent to agents and landlords as a company-let since they understand what this is, but you don't want to use that type of paperwork with your rent-to-rent. A company-led agreement will normally specify that a company is leasing the property and placing their employees into it. And since you're not going to be housing only people that work for you, this would not be an appropriate type of contract. So let's move on to the 2 types of contracts that you can use in a rent-to-rent. First, a management agreement. This is a universal type of contract that can be used for any rent-to-rent. A management agreement is the same type of contract any letting agent would use, and basically it says that you're managing the property on behalf of the owner. When you have a solicitor draw it up, they'll be able to add the extra clauses to make it rent-to-rent specific. But at its heart, it's a management agreement and it's a very standard contract, which is good because this means that all mortgage lenders will understand it and it will not violate the terms of a mortgage agreement. Again, this means that it can be used for any normal rent-to-rent arrangement. The second type of contract, and my favorite type to use, is a commercial lease agreement. This is a contract that is commonly used by businesses when renting their business premises. Again, your solicitor will be able to put in all the correct clauses, but with this agreement, you're not acting as an agent on behalf of the owner. You're leasing the property from the owner and then renting it out to your own tenants. In this instance, it would not be acceptable to a mortgage company, and so you can't use this type of agreement if the owner has a mortgage on their property. There are also some really favorable tax benefits of using this type of agreement, which I don't have time to get into in this video, but I'll go into more depth in my trainings. So check those out if you want to learn more. In summary, you should use either a management agreement or a commercial lease agreement for your rent-to-rents. A management agreement is generally always okay to use, and a commercial lease agreement should only be used when the property does not have a mortgage. Also, you should always have a solicitor draw up your agreement so that you're protected if any issues arise in the future. I hope that's helped. This is a confusing subject for a lot of rent-to-renters when they're just getting started, and there's a lot of different guidance out there by people doing rent-to-rent. What I've spoken about in this video is the current accepted standard for contracts. I hope that helps, and stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.